Yo, so this is probably one of the dopest anime episodes that I've actually watched in a really long time. So it was so good that I had to watch it twice. With that being said, let's jump straight into this review. This is My Hero Academia episode 6. So at the beginning of the episode, we've got Bakugou, who's finally seeing Deku's quirk for the first time and kind of showing his reaction. His reaction was pretty much what everyone expected it to be. He was pretty angry. For me personally, Bakugou's reaction kind of reminded me of Sasuke in the original Naruto run, where it was Naruto and Sasuke on the roof of the hospital, kind of going at each other, and then Kakashi showed up, threw them both in the water tank, and if you watch Naruto, you would understand. Bakugou's reaction kind of reminded me of Sasuke, the way he kind of realized that Deku was so much more than what he thought he was, and how much he's actually changed from before. Even though the development in the anime isn't actually that far apart in terms of time, obviously, so it'll be even more of a surprise for him, considering only a few days ago or a few weeks ago he thought he was quirkless and weak and useless. At some point in the episode, we find out what Bakugou's final goal is in life, I guess, is to overtake All Might in terms of being the top superhero and being #1. Which to me is very interesting, since obviously the two main characters, well, I would say they're the main characters for now that we know, is Bakugou and Deku. They have the same goal that they want to reach, yet they're two completely different characters. One is obviously was a coward, kind of developing into someone who's more brave and all that. We'll talk about his development later on. And one who's a hothead who thinks he's the best. So it'll be really interesting to find out how they're going to get there, because personally, I think it'll probably be some kind of Naruto Sasuke thing where they're two rivals who will battle it out. It's definitely a possibility that this anime can go towards. I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't, and there'll be some kind of plot twist where he turns evil for a specific reason or something along those lines, but he will come back in the end. And then we find out that Deku could potentially die if he overuses his power too much, since Recovery Girl can't actually recover him properly. She just kind of speeds up recovery, and it requires his stamina. So that kind of leads on into him mastering his quirk, his new quirk, One for All. I'm kind of expecting Deku to kind of develop his quirk and control it in some kind of way within the next few episodes or so, especially with them kind of showing us that he can die from this ability, and if he can't control it very well, and he just can't go all out every single time he uses it. And then about halfway through the episode, we've got the main kind of big portion where we have the 2-on-2 villains versus superheroes. This is probably the main reason why I've watched it twice, and there's just so much that I can say about this. So I'm just going to break it down in a few things. So in this part of that episode, we finally get to see all of their superhero costumes. Obviously Bakugou with his grenades on his arms. We've got Ochako, who has the skin tight suit, and then we've got Ida. I'm not sure if anyone picked up on this. It might just be me, but his costume really reminded me of Tatsumi from Akame ga Kill with his Imperial armor. Maybe they drew Ida's costume with Tatsumi in mind, I don't know, but there's definitely some kind of inspiration there. And then we've got the main guy, Deku. Obviously he didn't have time to develop his costume very well, considering he didn't have a quirk, but then his mum kind of went in for him. So I just want to quickly say, Deku and his mum's, their relationship, it really takes you on a feels trip, because right from the beginning of the anime, from episode 1, we had him and his mum where he discovered he was quirkless, and then we had the scene with his mum and Deku in his room crying. A lot of people found that funny, but me, that was heartbreaking, man. That was heartbreaking. So again, they flash back to that scene, and it made me so sad. Just wanted to cry inside. Anyway, she had a peek of his costume and she got it done for him, and I found his costume really funny. Obviously it was meant to be funny. I don't think it was meant to be very serious. His costume suit will probably be developed later on to look more better. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Not 100% sure, but I don't really think that he's gonna have big giant ears. Although he does look up to All Might and follows All Might, I really doubt they're gonna keep him in All Might's shadow. They're probably gonna change him up, make him more unique. So this next part of the episode, I really like the way they did this. We had All Might explaining his lesson. I really liked the whole kind of retro arcade game style with the whole Street Fighter. I think this anime kind of takes inspiration from other shonens and classic comic books, like from, I don't know, say the Avengers or something, and kind of takes all of the good points about them and kind of just throws it into one piece. They even throw in some comedy in there for you. It was a lot more than I expected to be in this episode. There's the whole dry eye thing at the beginning with Eraserhead. Oh, that made me laugh quite a lot, to be honest. And then we've got Grapehead with his pervertedness. I think he's going to be the comic of the anime. And then we've got the funniest part for me personally was the part where Deku explains what his name meant, the way he just instantly introduces himself as Deku. I like how they don't try to focus too much on comedy. They kind of want to go straight into kind of the story development, character development side of things. That's something I really like about this anime, is that they don't try too hard with a certain aspect of it. They kind of go for the wider variety of things. So now, final thing, we've got the fight between Team A and Team D, I believe it was. We've got Ida and Bakugou versus Ochako and Deku. Personally, this fight is going to be amazing. We've only seen the beginning with Bakugou jumping out and kind of Deku reading his moves and just throwing on the floor. Personally, that was my favorite scene of the episode. It was absolutely amazing. The soundtrack was on point. Go back to this episode and go to that scene, close your eyes and just kind of listen to it. Personally, I think the soundtrack makes this anime. It cannot be any better in my opinion. I like how Deku respects Bakugou and kind of watched him all these years, even though it was really weird how Bakugou they were friends at first, then Bakugou started bullying him, and then I'm really interested to see what kind of changed everything. Is it because he got his quirk and Deku didn't? I'm kind of hoping to see what their backstory is in the end. It'll be really interesting to know. The way Deku threw Bakugou on the floor, it obviously took Bakugou by surprise. I'm really interested to see how this fight plays out. If you think about it, we've got Ida and Bakugou, who is like a power couple. They're really, I mean, how can these two, Deku and Ochako, beat them? If you actually think of it, there's not really much they can actually do, other than the fact that Deku has a lot of kind of knowledge on Bakugou and he can kind of counter him in that sense. But I'm really interested to see who's going to win. I'm rooting for Ida and Bakugou purely because they're kind of the underdog. Everyone's expecting them to lose, but I'm kind of hoping they play it differently and make them win. Overall, this episode was very good. It just, from beginning to end, it was just hype on hype on hype. It never slowed down. It never kind of died out. Beginning to end, just all hype. I would give this episode for sure 9.5 out of 10. Maybe even 10. I'll probably give it a 10 actually. That's just how good it was. Like I said, music on point. We've got further development of Deku's character, from the coward to someone who can stand up for himself, kind of fight back. Deku's development from episode 1 till now. The overall pacing of the anime is very good, to be honest. Halfway through the anime, we're only on, I believe, about chapter 10 in the manga. I'm gonna actually read the manga soon. Very nice light comedy. There wasn't too much of it. Where it was funny, it was very funny. It made me laugh. Like I said, I watched episode twice. It made me laugh both times. Overall, again, 10 out of 10. That's pretty much it for this review. I'll see you in the next one.